Hi everyone, welcome back. Again, Tony with Shinsho Yoga, and today I want to work on the sun breath sequence. So your sun breath sequence is going to be, once again, part of a general vinyasa flow. If you're in a hatha yoga class and you're in any vinyasa, you're probably going to see the sun breath sequence. The sun breath sequence consists of Urdhva Hastasana, upward facing hands, forward fold Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, and then repeat. So it starts with upward facing hands, forward fold, lift halfway, forward fold, upward facing hands, and we repeat. It is a wonderful exercise. It's a combination between a standing pose and an inversion. So Uttanasana is an inversion, forward folding. So we're going back and forth between the two. And we're going gently and we're going subtly, so it has a subtle effect. That's why we do it multiple times throughout the practice. Each time you're doing it, it's having a little small effect on you. So I incorporate them in all of my practices. Any class I do, there's certain things you're going to see, and that's one of them is the sun breaths. Now, if you are not familiar with upward facing hands position, forward fold, or the halfway lift, I do have 3 prior videos that I've done on this. All the videos I'm looking to do are to be somewhat sequential, kind of building on one another, just as I do my classes. I like to build upon prior discussions, prior teachings, to be able to help you work your way up in your practice and gain a deeper knowledge and deepen your practice. So if you're not familiar with these poses or are unsure of how to do them, I would just ask you to go back and watch those. They're not that long. I try to keep them under 15 minutes to explain to you how to do them, and then coming into this one for the sun breaths. One of the most important things in this practice, right, or this sequence specifically I'll talk about, it's really, for all of them, is going to be moving with the breath and moving with control. Sometimes I see people who will do from folding to upward facing hands and they just kind of whip themselves back and forth. That's not healthy, that's not yoga. What we do is deliberate in this practice. There's nothing arbitrary. It's not, again, and it's not an exercise per se. The asana, the physical portion of this practice, is physical exertion, is a combination of exercising and stretching, but it's a means to an end. It's a way to learn to still the mind. Yoga has multiple limbs, limbs meaning in some cases called auxiliaries, right? It's different parts of the practice. Hatha yoga has 8 limbs or 8 auxiliaries, and one of them is asana, or the physical practice. Raja yoga, another style, has also 8 limbs and has asana, or physical practice, a part of it. Some practices have 15 auxiliaries, some have 4. It depends on the date of the practice. Yoga dates back anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 years. Some of them have a physical practice, some of them do not. And the modern practice that we do came from a man by the name of Krishnamacharya in the late 1800s. Right? He's the one who created the vinyasa out of a hatha book that he found that was left over that the British hadn't burned during their occupancy of India. So what we're doing here, even though can be vigorous and is done to exercise the body, is not an exercise. It really is a moving meditation. It's really what it is. It's taking multiple aspects of life and taking a different point of view but applying the same principle. That stilling of the mind. That's what yoga is about. Yoga, the core of yoga, right, is meditation. The ancient yogis were looking to try to reach their highest spiritual level, to connect with the divine. That's what they were looking to do. And they used physical practices like asana to burn away the physical. That's what they were looking to do, right? So it wasn't, the ancient yogis didn't do this to try to get a yoga butt, you know? They weren't doing it to burn 10,000 calories to be able to fit in a swimsuit, you know, or anything like that. It was done to connect with God. That's what it's for. Yoga is a spirituality. Now, whether you want to do that or make that a part of it is entirely up to you, but I wouldn't negate the power of that practice in any way. I would incorporate it to some degree. And in my practices, I try to fully incorporate that for modern times. We're not living in India in 5000 BC, so I try to do it as best I can for people who have iPhones. Hence why you're seeing this on YouTube and not in some ancient text. But the practice needs to be methodical. Right? What we need to do with precision. Speed is a poor substitute for accuracy. I read that in a fortune cookie. Pretty good. So you're not looking to do this quickly. You want to do it with control, you want to do it methodically, and you need to do it with your breath. You need to move with your breath. Now, when you're in a group class, it may be challenging because everyone is kind of at their own pace. You'll get that one person who comes in who's shot out of a cannon, right? And they're ready to go. And you're walking in the room and you're not even set up and they're practicing forearm stands. And you're like, oh, man, his energy's a little too much. And go in your corner, I'll stay here. Or maybe you have the person next to you that just got over a cold and they forced themselves in and they've got a stack of tissues and tea and Hall's mints and they're going, I had the cub today. I have missed my yoga so much. You know, you're going to have all of that in your practice. It's why you stay centered and breathe and do what's best for your body. So, sun breath sequence. We're going to move with our breath and move with methodically, with control. Right? Move with a purpose, for lack of a better way to put it. So, can't do this on my knees. And again, I apologize that my ceiling is low. So when you see me and my hands go up to the sky, they're going to hit the ceiling because I am tall and the ceiling is low. That is life. Be like me teaching, like I said, where I teach at the yoga loft. My hands hit the rafters. It's just the way it is. I have very long arms. So when you see that with my upward-facing hands, as I mentioned in prior videos, please know that if the space was there, I would have more length with them. Again, not shortening up the thoracic spine, though. And I'm going to mention that as we do it. So let's get started here. And we want to start with our feet about hip distance apart. Again, teachers may have you do this differently. A lot of times what I do in classes is I'll have students do wide-legged ones because we work on openness in the back of the legs. People who work in an office or just generally me have tight back of the body. So to be able to open them up, wide legs really work. So have your feet hip distance apart. Don't lock the knees out. Don't do this. Right? Just have the knees released. In pretty much any standing pose, you're going to want to do that. You're going to have the knees released. Don't lock them out. We see what happens here if I'm here and they have a slight bend. If I lock them out, this all presses back and this goes forward. Now my head is ahead of my toes. Now everything is long. Right? There's here. Right? That's knees locked out. And then there's here. So generally, through this, leave the knees unlocked. So with our inhale, you're going to sweep the arms above the head, gazing towards the thumbs, lengthening the spine. Again, we don't want to shorten the thoracic spine, so we're not hunching the shoulders up. Just let the arms be long, and again, pretend that this muslin cloth isn't here and I have my arms very long. And then with your exhale, you're going to lead with the heart and you're going to fold forward. Now when I fold forward from here, I take my hands in front of me this way, right? It gives me a focal point. It gives me something to look at, so I'm leading with the heart, right? Sometimes you'll hear a teacher say swan dive it forward and they go out here. That's fine. Some classes you may have a lot of people in, you may not be able to do that. So you need to be able to keep it compact. This, for me, keeps me focused forward and keeps me leading with the heart. And I fold forward. And again, my forward fold, I bend the knees because I need that from my back. Allow the head to relax. On the inhale, I'm going to lift halfway. Hands come to the shins. Heart moves forward. Gaze is lifted. Exhale. Forward fold. Inhale, rising up. Arms come to the sky. Lengthen. Gazing at the thumbs. Shoulders are relaxed. Again, lengthen the arms. Lifting of the crown. Sinking of the tailbone. Exhale. Lead with the heart. Forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Arms to the sky, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. And on that, you see how I bring my arms out to the side. Again, that's how I like to do it in a practice when I'm rising up. If you're in a busy class, you may not have the room next to you. Again, these arms are long, so it's a good chance that if I do that, I'm going to smack the person next to me if they're right here. So sometimes when I rise up, I stay here. And the arms come up to the sky. That's just an adjustment for the type of class that you're in at the time. Now, again, we want to move methodically here. When we fold, we hinge from the hip. Don't do this. Huh? No. That's not proper. That's not correct. We want to move. So, that is our sun breath sequence. You will see it throughout many vinyasas. You'll see it in most styles of yoga. Whether it's Ashtanga, whether it's Jivamukti, just your standard Hatha Vinyasa, it's all a part of it. If you're ever down on the boardwalk in Long Branch, New Jersey, and you see some guy with long arms standing there in a corner doing sun breaths, it's probably me. I often, if I go for a walk, and at the end I just do a little light movement by the ocean, and sun breaths are a wonderful part of it. When I'm teaching in a class, depending on the type of class, because I'm not demonstrating the whole time in class, because I need to be able to watch the students, as teachers should be, when it comes to the sun breath sequence, I often will take a part in it, just because no matter what, it always feels good. So when you wake up in the morning, feel free to go through the sequence. Your lunchtime, if you work in an office, you go off to get lunch somewhere, maybe you're in a park, or maybe you have an office, you can close your door, or a conference room, or maybe they have a gym you go to. You can take time to do sun breaths. You get home in the evening, before you're going to wind down and watch TV or read or maybe just sit quietly. Sun breaths. And again, we want to move with the breath in that. Inhale as you rise up. Exhale as you fold forward. Inhale for half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And again, coming back to the most important part. What we do here. So as you're going through your sequence, as your thoughts arise, acknowledge them, allow them to pass by, return to the breath. Over and over and over. Each time a thought arises, Let it pass by and just return to the breath. So, thanks for tuning in. Namaste.